In today's video, we're going to take a look at the content center and replacing either content center parts or even replacing normal parts that you might have drawn up. So in my assembly today, I've got some content center components that I've created, some bolts over here, which are content center parts, as you can see there, the little content center symbol. And maybe you find out that maybe it's too small or it's too big, or you want a different type of bolt in it. So what we can do is we can select it, and if you right click on the part, you can see there replace from content center. So if I click on replace from content center, it'll open up my content center dialog box, and I'm able to replace it. So say for instance we want a hex flange screw metric IFI. So once I select it, I'm going to go OK, and then what it does is it brings up the familiar content center replacement or place tool, and I know that it's an M8 by 35, so I'm just going to go and say M8 by 35. Maybe you want a little bit longer for whatever reason. Now, when I do replace this, once again, even though this is a standard content center component, I do have the option to make it as a custom or as a standard. So custom would be something that maybe you're creating, or maybe you want to put some additional I property values in there, which you haven't had a chance maybe to put it in the content center, but you want to put it now because you want to reflect it on the bill of materials that you've got. I'm going to keep it as standard, and I've got two options. I can either replace just that one that I selected over there, or I can replace all. So I'm going to say replace all. And let's just take a look at what happens over here. So it's ISO 4162. Click on OK. The familiar component family should retain previously placed relationships. So, if the shape was very, very different to the previous shape that I had on this bolt, then it might lose out the constraints, the relationships that it's got, and then I just have to go and reconstrain it. I'm going to go OK. Save sessions, and there we go. Okay, so you'll see there now it's actually changed from the ISO to my hex flange screw. So there we go. So all good and dandy, and if I try and move it, you'll notice there that it's still constrained in because it was able to find geometry similar enough to the previous bolt that I had in there to remain with that constraint. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is, let's take a look at maybe I've downloaded a bolt from somewhere else, or maybe it's something that I created. It's sitting somewhere on my hard drive, and I want to now replace these bolts with the one that's sitting on my hard drive and not from the content center. So what I can do, select, right click, and instead of saying replace from content center, I'm going to go down to my component, and in the components I've got two options over here: replace and replace all. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that I need to go and, it's just for content center bolts, etc. I mean, I could go and exchange the shaft over here, or maybe the base. I'm able to hit any of those with the component and then the replace. So with replace, just replace that one, and then replace all will replace all of them. So let's just go replace and just see what that is. So replacement parts. There we go, and select open. Once again, you'll see there now just the one has got the ISO 4162 M8 by 35, and the other ones are still my hex flange screw metric IFI. Now let's go see how. So maybe I made a bit of a mistake. I forgot to do sort of replace all. So now I can go to replace all, go to my replacement part, click on open, OK, and replaces all the components over there. So as I said, when I go to this right click component and then I go replace all, that is now sort of giving the opportunity to go off to my local hard drive and find a replacement part for that. But now what happens if, say for instance, I've got this base and I want to maybe sort of cut a hole in the middle of here. Maybe I don't need it. I want to lighten up the base, and it's still strong enough if I just cut a couple of holes in there, save on material. But I don't have a replacement for this. I mean, I can select it, right click, component, replace, and I don't have another base that I've already created. But I don't want to necessarily change this base, because if I do, I'm going to have to change the part number, and if this base is sitting in other assemblies, then it needs to be updated in that as well. And if I do change this and it is linked to other assemblies, that will cause an issue. So something that Inventor's got, which is very, very useful, is the productivity tools over here. And if I click on the drop down, I've got these two options over here: save and replace, and save and replace all. Now, save and replace has been here for quite a while. I think save and replace all was introduced in 2025 or late 2024. Now, I only want to, only got one base over here. So I can say save and replace, and I can then go and select the part that I want to save and replace. And there you can see it opens up, and in my replacement parts, I'm going to go plate with holes. Okay, so what I'm actually doing now is I'm saving copy as and replacing the components as well, which then also allows me, I don't have to delete this base or open up, save copy as, delete the base, go find it, replace it, and then put it into my assembly. So with this one over here, I'm going to say plate with holes. Okay, click on save, and there we go. Now I can go into the base over here, and let's go and just maybe cut out a just make a small little cutout over here. Cool, maybe that's all we need. It's still going to keep its integrity, its structural integrity, and then let's just cut that hole out over there. Okay, so there you'll see there, plate with holes. Now to show you that it's not even, it's not linked to that other component, if I just go and place this quickly. So I'm going to go place, let's go to plate. Where's my plate over here? Okay, bring it in. You'll see there that it is totally separate to that component over there, because that's got the hole in it and that one doesn't. Now let's take a look at the save and replace all. So for instance, we've got these two brackets over here, and maybe once again, we're thinking put a hole in here somewhere, or maybe cut out some material so that it's a little bit more lightweight. So if I go to my save and replace all, select my bracket, and we know it's the same bracket because it's bracket 1 and bracket 2, is now we'll go and say, right, brackets with bracket less material, and select save. So you'll see there both bracket less material and bracket less material over there, and then I can go make my changes. Yeah, maybe we're going to go and just skim some material off the top over here. Just maybe do something like that. And then you'll notice there that it updates both on that bracket over there on the inside, as well as the other bracket on the other side as well. So there we have it. So Inventor's got some very nice replacement tools of existing parts that you have got in assembly. It makes it much easier when designing. It's a case of, you got your part, you save it somewhere on your hard drive, then you've got to go sort of place over here and then go bring it back in by trying to find it through a whole bunch of folder structures that you might have on your hard drive. So if you haven't seen it before, productivity tools, save and replace all, as well as on a component, to our components over here, replace all, or if it's coming from the content center, replace from content center. Thanks very much for watching.